If she's cheated, if she's already with someone else, you might think it's over, that it's too late. But what if I told you this isn't the end? What if this is the moment you finally become the man she thought she married? The one your kids looked up to and your wife can't ignore. Hey, brother, I have plenty of clients who know this pain. Waking up, checking her phone, feeling their entire body go numb. The shakes, the rage, the sadness, the silence. You feel like the ground's ripped out beneath you, and everyone's telling you to either man up, move on, or go to therapy and cry it out. But what if this betrayal isn't the end of your story, but the beginning of your comeback arc? Well, today I'm going to show you, and excuse me, I'm starting to get sick. I'm not going to let it get me, but it's going. Today I'm going to show you why this moment, her cheating, might actually be the painful gift that forces you to rise, lead, and become the heroic husband she never thought you could. Look, if you're ready in this moment, if you're spinning, guessing, desperate for answers, you can book a free call with us. That is down below. We'll lay out a plan, no therapy, no hoping, just strategic masculine leadership to save your marriage. Now, most men think when she cheats, the story is over. They hit rock bottom and they stay there. But this isn't a dead end. It's a fork in the road, and the direction you choose from here determines everything. This is something that I hammer home with guys who get in our coaching program and become our private clients, because you can either go down one path that leads to destruction and carries on generational divorce, and or you can go down the path to where you heal, you grow, you shift, you bond, and you make sure that that generational divorce doesn't continue. Now, the reason why I call it generational divorce is, one, your children that are part of a divorce are more likely to get divorced. Two, most men think that they could just brush it off and that they'll be like, all right, I'm on to the next one. And that's very pervasive, because usually 9.5 times out of 10, we'll get guys who come back to us and they'll be on their third, fourth, fifth, maybe even sixth marriage. And they go, Noah, I thought it was going to be different this time. I thought the first one was a fluke. Maybe the second one was just, because I was rushing. But they always end the same. When it comes to cheating, that usually happens because it may not be the exact same, but they rhyme similar. And that deep core foundation of why things led to that remain. Now, one path leads where most men go. They blame, they panic, they plead, late night text rants, moving out, divorce court, and regret. The other path, that's the path of the heroic husband, the man who faces the storm, steadies his breath, and chooses leadership over collapse. Let me paint you a picture. So we had a guy named Jason, name hidden for obviously privacy purposes. A guy like you found out his wife had been seeing someone else. He was sleeping in the guest room. He almost packed his bags. But instead of walking out, he walked inward. He joined our program, showed up daily, reconnected to his core, and stopped reacting. Within 6 weeks, his wife was texting him again, not about bills, but about him. Something like, I've noticed something different. What's going on with you? That's what this moment offers. Not punishment, permission. And I'm going to highlight this because most of the time when things get down to a cheating aspect, there's been such a lack in the relationship for so long. And most men just tend to all of a sudden care about the relationship when the problems arise, unfortunately, right? They go, oh, Noah, well, what about the sanctity of marriage? What about this? What about that? And look, I hold marriage very, very sacred, okay? But a lot of men like to all of a sudden just jump into the marriage, okay, when things are already bleeding out. Whether they're in for a relationship for 5, 6, 10, 15 years. Think about, and we'll be conservative, for a 15-year marriage, think about the 10 years where she was silently bleeding and just hurt to her core. Okay? The feminine leans into the masculine for not only that tribe of trust, of protection and safety, but to get respect, admiration, and feel like she can be her complete 100% authentic self. When cheating is involved, it's normally never, and I'm telling you this, like 9.5 out of 10, it's normally never just because the person is a cheater, right? And they have a deep nymphomaniac core of just cheating. You know, most guys like to justify that, just like your wife might be justifying cheating because it's already over. Well, that's because she thinks that you have down this one path and you won't change. She doesn't believe you can. She doesn't have trust with you, which feeds that safety mechanism. And maybe she doesn't even have that space to see it, because when things start to go wrong, most people just hammer things home, okay? So when you start changing and you start addressing the situation and you start planting seeds into the bleeding points of the marriage, well, now you're creating a whole new path and you're leading. And that usually causes her to kind of take a step back and go, what the heck is going on? See, permission to stop being the man she outgrew, right? And become the one she didn't know she was still longing for. Look, I'm going to tell you this. You guys got together for a reason, okay? It's just along the way, there's been so much bleeding that you can't and you might not feel like you guys are meant to be together. Or you might think, oh, she's changed. Well, did you ever really know her in the first place? Probably not. You probably had an idea of her. So it's really important to really understand that there's bleeding happening and there's a piece of you inside of her that's longing for you still. So this moment right here, it's the test. And you don't pass it by chasing, you pass it by choosing. Choosing calm over chaos, strength over shame, forward over frozen. You don't need to convince her right now. You need to lead you right now. You might look at her, see her texting someone else, and maybe even sleeping in another bed and think, oh, she's done, she's gone. But here's what you need to know. Women don't leave because of another man. They leave because of how they feel around you. Affairs are just a symptom, not the cause. This is what a lot of men just like forget, okay? We've been conditioned by society like this, especially over the past 100 years. But when it comes to how women, speak, they aren't actually. So for instance, like men are very upfront. With my coaching clients, sometimes I can be an asshole, and that's to slap them out of it, okay? And I'll be very direct and no BS. Now, men think women speak the same way, but they don't, because they're a feminine, emotional nature. So they'll speak of the symptoms of the overall problem. Let me tell you about Lauren, a hypothetical woman. But one I've seen in dozens of real marriages. So Lauren started checking out 2 years before she ever crossed the line, okay? Probably longer before that. Her husband, David, was a good guy, paid the bills, came home, never raised his voice, but he also stopped showing up emotionally, energetically, intimately. She didn't feel chosen. She didn't feel seen. She felt safe, but stuck. By the way, your wife doesn't want you to think that she doesn't want to feel like you're just keeping her around. She wants to feel claimed. Okay. So this causes her to feel like she was slowly fading in her own home. So she started talking to a guy from work. Nothing crazy at first, just attention. Feeling like a woman again, right? Feeling noticed. And before she knew it, she was telling herself a story. Man, David doesn't really see me. This new guy makes me feel alive. But here's the part most men miss. Lauren didn't cheat because she was fully done. She cheated because she didn't believe her husband could change. She cheated as a last attempt to feel anything again. And here's the gold. If your wife is still reactive, still cold, still angry, still defensive, she's not gone. She's guarded. She's in self-protection mode. She's watching you for proof, okay? Either way, proof to stay around or proof to leave. And normally when this self-protection mode pops up is because she's trying to justify, right? So this is where you learn deeply on how to lead forward. So proof that she was right to leave, or proof that maybe, just maybe, the man she fell in love with is still in there, right? She might say she's done. Again, that goes back to she'll just talk about the symptom instead of the actual problem. She might look like she's checked out, but if she's still emotionally charged, if she's still watching your reactions, she's testing. This doesn't mean you chase her. It means you lead through grounded, calm presence, through consistency, through emotional strength. You're not trying to get her back. You're showing her what she forgot was possible. This is the moment that defines your legacy, not just in your marriage, but in your manhood. Right now, you feel like the victim, which you gotta kill that mindset. You feel betrayed, gutted, discarded, and every instinct in your body wants to either lash out or curl up. But what if I told you this isn't happening to you, this is happening for you, which is a big distinction we always talk about. What if this is the exact fire you needed to wake up, to stop coasting, to stop waiting, and start leading like the man you were always capable of being? Picture this. Imagine your son is 12 years old, asking you in the future, "Dad, what happened with you and Mom?" You either say, "I gave up," when she gave up, or you'll say, "I fought for us. I became the man I should have always been. And even though it hurt, I didn't quit." This is your hero's journey. This is Rocky in the snow. This is Maximus in the arena. This is William Wallace shouting, "Freedom," with chains around his wrist. You don't become a hero when everything is calm. You become a hero when it's chaos and you still show up with clarity. When everything's burning and you become the one steady thing in the room. Your wife doesn't need a fixer. She doesn't need you to perform. She needs to feel something real, something grounded. A man who knows who he is and refuses to collapse, even when it would be easier to quit. Leadership starts with emotional clarity, with boundaries, with a spine. That doesn't mean you become cold. It means you become strong enough to hold both your pain and your power at the same time. You don't chase her, you lead her, not with speeches, with action. Because this isn't just about getting your wife back. It's about getting you back. So let's put it all together, brother. You're not here by accident. You're here because your back's against the wall and part of you knows this can't be how it ends. After cheating, her cheating isn't the end. It's the wake-up call, the slap that snaps you out of autopilot. It hurts. It's unfair, but it also is the moment that gives you a clear choice, rise or retreat. She's not gone. She's guarded. That affair partner, he's not the real problem. The real wound is how she's felt. Unseen, disconnected, doubting your ability to lead, okay? She's still watching, still hoping, even if she won't admit it. This isn't your collapse, it's your comeback. This is your proving ground, the pressure cooker where your character gets tested, revealed, and rebuilt. Imagine a man, we'll call him Eric. He caught his wife lying about text with another man. Instead of exploding or begging, he stepped back. He got help. He got grounded. He built a plan. 3 months later, his wife said, "I don't know what changed in you, but I feel it." You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be steady, present, strong. You're not trying to win her back. You're becoming the man she regrets walking away from. That's what we call building up your Renaissance man, okay? Building up that holistic man. So basically, there's 4 pillars of a man that we really go into and we really teach with our clients. And those pillars really allow you to evolve and transform, because there's also precursors to those pillars that a lot of people fall in those traps of, and they never really get out of, okay? And so in that's how you lead. If this hits you in the gut and you're done guessing, book a free Heroic Husband call with me. We'll build a plan, no fluff, no therapy speak, just masculine clarity to help you lead again. And that would be down below. Because you don't need her permission to step up. You just need a path. You could also subscribe for more talks like this. I'm here every week with truth, tools, stories that most men wish they had before it was too late. And this is really our driving mission, to lower that divorce percentage by 1%. At least, we're going to aim for more, but at least by 1%, because it breaks my heart every time someone gets on a call with me or one of our team members, and I just hear about all the if onlys, if only, if only, if only, if only, if only. And with something like cheating, I hear the if onlys and the bleeding even more, the pain, right? The hurt, the resentment. But this is your moment. This is your exact moment to choose what you do with it. You either rise or you collapse and crumble, and the same cycle will repeat, okay? I'm tired of hearing all of that. I'm tired of hearing the pain. I'm tired of hearing, I wish I could have seen this sooner. I wish I could have heard this sooner. Those are the exact words I needed to hear. So this is your moment. You either step up or you crumble under pressure. I talk about peaks and valleys all the time with my clients. Peaks are the dopamine hits everybody wants. We love them. We need them. We're like, oh, this is amazing. But the valleys is where the true test of a man is. The troughs are even deeper, lower. And that pressure will form you and forge you into the man who leads. And when it comes to your family, this is a mission that you cannot just let slip by. This is a mission that you must rise, that answer, and lead, and transform and evolve into that heroic husband. And look, man, you've got this, and I've got you. See you in the next video.